the San Jose Sharks lay a giant egg tonight and lose to the Oilers 7-1. We'll talk about that and more after this. But first, if you want to be a part of the show and chat with us, Teal Together, join the chomversation, as one puck guy would say. Check us out across all the social media channels, the YouTube chat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud, Reddit, Discord, TikTok, all of that and more at tealtownusa.com. And if you want, help support the show over here at Venmo at Teal Town USA. It all goes to your viewing enjoyment. Well, whatever enjoyment we can get out of hockey these days. I am joined by Ian Reed. Ian, how are you doing today?
I've decided that all that money should go to what should be my newly acquired drinking habit, so I can continue watching this season.
Oh my God! I know.
I don't drink, but maybe now's a good time to start.
Right? I mean, new hobby. Oh man! I mean, Ian, where do we even go with this? I just is it just the fact that the Sharks just have no talent, no depth, or is there more layers to this depth of suckage?
First, what I'm going to do to start this show? I'm going to pat us on the back because we actually showed up. We showed up to do the show, and that's more than the Sharks did tonight, other than Oscar Lindblom. Oscar Lindblom has my undying respect for breaking the shutout, which is super important after, to score that all-important one goal when you've already lost, you're losing by 7. So golf claps to Oscar Lindblom for scoring a goal. I don't know. Like, I said this before we hit the record, like the go live record, whatever the hell you want to call the button that it is, so we can do what we do. And I said, like, for a game that the final score is 7-1, there's not a lot to talk about here.
There really isn't.
Like, there really isn't. Like, this is the worst game I think the Sharks have played all season. And think of the ground that covers.
I think maybe in 2 seasons.
Oh, I don't know. There are some pretty ugly losses under Bob.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. This one's up there for me. In again, I mean, we started this thing as, what the hell are we going to talk about? Because it's I don't know. It's just so atrocious, and so many issues.
Because here's the problem, right? Like, it's funny because people are like, let's get the tip jar going, because YouTube has come out and said that they are really frowning on profanity, and I don't want to get us demonetized, because here's the thing, right? Like, I love that you guys donate to the show, but I don't want your donation to go to YouTube. YouTube, like, Google has enough fucking money. There's one.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm gonna try and I'm trying to keep us monetized, because I feel like if you guys are going to donate to us, I mean, you can always donate to the Venmo, and then it doesn't matter because Google can't take that. I just don't want your super chats to get donated to YouTube, because that would be shitty. And here, I think the problem tonight is that it was such just an overall bad performance. Like, there's no one, like, sure, I could rant about how much I think Kaapo Kähkönen sucks, but, like, his performance was no worse than the rest of the lineup up and down.
Yeah, and I thought that the game started off, I thought the Sharks did a pretty good job for the first 10 minutes of putting a little bit of pressure on Edmonton, containing McDavid, and really playing a good, sound defensive game. I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. And then the power play comes on, and literally the Edmonton Oilers on the power play is like NHL 23 with everybody at 99 overall. I mean, it's just power play easy mode at this point. Connor McDavid with his 36th goal on the season, Draisaitl and Barry with the assists there, and this one.
I don't know if you guys know this, but Connor McDavid's really good at hockey. I know that this is breaking news and no one's ever made this conclusion on their own. You're welcome.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Connor McDavid is good at hockey. But like I said before, I mean, it was just comical how easy it was for them to score. I mean, it came in about halfway through that power play, and Connor McDavid left all alone, unplastered, backdoor, taps it in, easy goal. Actually, no, that was on his second goal. Second goal. On his first goal was a snipe. They had just re-entered the zone, and he was in all alone and sniped it. And I mean, could you say Kaapo Kähkönen was out of position? I mean, sure, you could make that argument, but I mean,
I'm not going to beat up too much on Kaapo Kähkönen though, because again, like, was his performance any worse than anyone else on the team? Not really. Like,
exactly.
So yeah, he gave up 7 goals, and at the end there, you kind of just, like, I think I put the Rocky, if he dies, he dies, gif up, looking at Kähkönen on, like, just, like, sorry, dude, you're not coming out. So if you die, you die. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, like I have visions of freaking Spinal Tap and the drummers exploding, combusting.
It's such a, like, I don't know, man. Like I said, it was just such an awful game for the Sharks, and like a little bit uncharacteristic too, because I appreciate the Sharks wanting to flip the script a little bit on losing 1-goal games. Well, this you lost by 6 this one, so good job, guys. Good, that's flipping the script, I guess. I don't know, man. It was a lot of laziness, I thought. Like, Logan Couture, who's been a guy who I've kind of gone for bat for on and off on this thing, because I think Logan Couture inherited the captaincy at the worst possible time, and I think. Yeah. I don't care who the captain was. I don't care if Jesus Pavelski himself was still here. I don't think this team is still magically good because of his over amazing leadership ability. Like, I think whoever inherited the captaincy was, the ship sinking. Here's the hat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel bad for him, but I thought tonight, like, for a guy who's, supposed to talking about, who's put up a big talk lately about, playing the right way and everything, man, he was fucking lazy in the D zone. That's too.
And I mean, not only that, but just the reluctance to shoot tonight, especially on the power play. There were on their initial power play in the first period, there was a moment where Couture had a straight line to the net, completely empty. He could have just pushed himself right through, taken a nice, beautiful shot on net, super close. And what does he do? He passes it back to the blue line, and I just do not understand the reluctance to shoot, and especially for a team that. If you get on the power play, you need to be able to generate some offense out of your power play. And right now, the Sharks are generating net minus out of their power play.
I mean, it was the San Jose Sharks day off.
Yeah, you're not kidding. Kellum Koskinen would get his 8th goal of the season from Hyman and Desharnais. That came in at 18-14 in the first period. Again, busted coverage.
Yep.
D zone was just completely unorganized. Kind of a sign of more to come.
Yeah, I think, and I think like the one thing about Kaapo Kähkönen, I said I wouldn't beat up on him. I'm not really going to beat up. It's more just like an observation. He overplays things. I find like that's his biggest flaw as a goalie is he overplays things. And I think that was the situation on that goal there, where he overplayed, and then by the time he was coming back around to make the save on the other side, like there's no way you can make that save. But if you don't overplay that puck to the other side so hard, and that's not just like that play. Like I feel like I don't think he's been particularly good in the shootout because he usually bites on the first move. Like I just find he overplays certain situations way too much, and that's a fundamental thing. The way that Kaapo Kähkönen plays.
Yeah. Going into the second period, be more of the same. Connor McDavid would get his 37th of the year from Draisaitl and Nugent Hopkins. This was the easy mode power play goal where they just took a shot, basically had a ricochet, and then able to kick it out to a uncovered, I was going to say Mark-Edward Vlasic, but he was talking about how he needed to cover McDavid, low, especially coming in low, and he didn't do that. And Connor McDavid gets his 37th. And again, the power play for Edmonton is lethal because it's probably got the 3 best forwards in the NHL on it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Again, you heard it here first. Connor McDavid is good at hockey. No one has ever come up with that take before. That is 100% Ian original.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, just when you thought that the Sharks couldn't sink any lower, they decide to have a power play of their own. And again, very suspect on the puck management, especially within their own zone. And Ryan Nugent-Hopkins makes them pay with a shorthanded goal. This one, I thought Kaapo Kähkönen definitely overplayed. Gets pulled out, and then they get him moving laterally side to side. He's just floundering, and he puts his glove up just to, to try to put something in front of the net. But Ryan Nugent-Hopkins
he was waving at the puck. I mean, like, look, sometimes. I have nothing.
Bye, puck.
Bye, puck. See you later. Oh, I'm supposed to stop you. My bad. But again, I don't want to beat up on him because I just think like.
It was a total.
It would be so unfair to just pin this on him.
Yeah, Leon Draisaitl would get another one. Not too much later, about 4 minutes later at 17:55. His 24th on the season, with McDavid giving him the assist. And at that point, I mean, it's 5-0. The Sharks look completely lost. Completely at this point, just sending it home. They are home, but
they are home. Yeah, I mean, you would think like this was like the end of like a grueling road trip. Nah, it's just a home game. It's fine.
Yep. And in that second period, would be caved in on in the shots, 15-18. And again, going into the third, you saw a little bit of life. They had 9 shots on goal, San Jose, but Edmonton had 14. Jesse Puljujarvi would get his 4th of the year, with Nugent Hopkins getting the assist at 12-14 of the third. Ryan McLeod, just for shits and giggles at this point, getting his 5th. Holloway and Fogle with the assists there. And then Oscar Lindblom with the pity goal. Benning and Gadjevich with the assists. And
the 7th goal was, I mean, just to go for how brutal that was. That goal was, like it's when like the team is playing this bad, like they just continuously were able to cause turnovers, and it didn't matter who the defenseman was that had the puck. Like that was Erik Karlsson gets double teamed, loses the puck, and then McLeod scores. But I mean, you can be mad about that. I mean, if you want to get mad about the seventh goal and a 7-1 loss. But I mean, it was, but that was the defense all night, getting just pucks picked off them and pucks going the other way. Like, again, I don't want to pick on Kakkonen, because I don't think Kakkonen got a whole lot of help. In fact, if I'm Kaapo Kakkonen, I'm probably a little pissed off with the way the team played in front of him tonight. Not to say that he was good, but to put this all on Kaapo Kakkonen would be just ridiculous. I mean, but again, like I can bring out all the hits. Matt Benning sucks. No shit. Well, I'm sure after like the last couple of games, whatever advanced numbers were making him appear good. And again, I refuse to live in a world where Matt Benning's a good defender, but I'm sure all that's been taken care of now after these last few games. Jesus Christ.
Yep. And on the night, your shot counter would be 41-26 in favor of Edmonton. Ian, I mean, I talked about this last game. I remembered a time when the Sharks used to be hard to play against. A team that would, even if it wasn't good, it would still be a physical type affair. This is the Ricci days, of course. This is, we haven't seen this in over a decade. But, it's one thing to be bad.
Yeah.
But it's another thing. It's almost like a point of pride to be at least difficult to play against, at least to let the opposition know that they're going to be coming in for a physical tussle, and they can at least show a little bit of pride in their game that way. But this is just a lifeless team. This lifeless. I think that there's a lack of physicality. Honestly, I think that there's a lack of leadership from a play perspective. I think the leaders of this team that you normally rely upon, and like Hurdle's been snake bit for the last 4 games, and really hasn't shown much, much life. And I don't know if it's the losing getting to him, but you want to see some fight. You want to see something. That points to things getting better, but I don't see anything out of this team.
I mean, tonight's like, obviously tonight we didn't see anything. I think like you're looking at this stuff coming out of the locker room, and it's all basically the same shit. Like they know that this was a shit game. They know it. We know it. Like anyone who watched this knows it. Hell, anyone who didn't watch this probably knows it. Based off, if they just read their timeline, they can see how terrible this game was. I don't know. I mean, I think when you're in a situation like the Sharks are, where your talent is kind of thin and you have a lot of veteran players just filling holes. They're just all these guys are is they're the little pieces of mud you stick in the wall to stop the leak, right? So I think, and the Sharks, they have lost a lot of close games this year. They've lost a lot of entertaining games this year too. Like, let's not pretend like this game has been the whole season. It hasn't been. Like this, there's been large stretches where this team, despite losing a lot of games, has been actually entertaining to watch. But I think after, I think losing a bunch of 1-goal games the way they have, that's got to take a toll mentally.
Yeah.
Right? Like I can't imagine the toll it's going to take, and they have to know. They know they're not going anywhere. Like Couture can talk about, going on a run. Obviously, this if this is the run, well, oh boy. But like they know where they are. They're not idiots. They can do math. I think they can do math anyway. I don't know. Like they have to know where they are now, and they have to know no help's coming. If anything, guys are gonna get shipped out.
Yeah.
And, and look at like, you want to talk about like Tomas Hertl being down, but like again, like I don't have super issues with David Quinn. Like I have a few, but nothing like serious. Because honestly, what's the fucking point at this point? The Sharks can't fire another coach.
Yep.
Right? Like David Quinn's gonna be around for a while. You can't fire another coach. Otherwise you're gonna just end up in a situation like, I don't know, Buffalo.
I mean,
right?
but even Buffalo right now is on the ascent.
Yes,
I mean,
but how long did it take to get there?
Right. And I had pointed towards Minnesota. All the years that Minnesota was stuck in the mucky middle. Before Kirill. The I guess during the reign of Suter and Zach Parise. Like during their entire tenure, they were basically just stuck in the middle of the standings. Not good, not good enough to make the playoffs, but not bad enough to draft, in the top 5.
Right. And that's where you don't want, like, that's why when people are like, "Oh, this is horrible. The Sharks need to try and win." Like, so what? They can be Minnesota and just not make the playoffs and not make the playoffs and not have a good draft pick and just be the same shit team for whatever amount of time. Like that's why, you want them to lose. And again, we have to watch this. And I think if you want people to go to the games, you have to make them entertaining. Like if this was the game that I picked to go check in on the Sharks this season, Jesus Christ, I'm never going to your SAP Center again.
I mean, I'm surprised we didn't see any jerseys on the ice, to be quite honest. You know what I mean? Like it was bad.
Well, because there wasn't. I mean, there was more. Probably because the Edmonton fans had all the glass seats.
Oh, that's probably true too. Quinn saying this is one of those nights where we just didn't have it. We have to flush it and move forward. I mean, what nights do they really have it on? Not very many. And not only that, but if you just look at the 3 games that the Sharks have played this week, one game where you could say that they were kind of entertaining. I mean, one game that was meh, and then a stinker. So not great results. I mean, for us in Team Tankville, I said you either tank with all your might or you're not doing it right. But at least they're picking away. At least they're picking to lose. So we have that to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, again, and going back to because you asked about Hertl not really producing, but like again, I feel like the lines get jumbled so much, and like there are guys like I feel like wherever Barabanov is, that's the line that's going.
I've liked Izamont or however.
Yeah, but he's a guy.
He is a guy, and he's probably still has the smelly salt upside. You know what I mean? Like whenever a guy gets a new scenery, he's always good for maybe 4 or 5 games where he's got a lot of energy and shows something. So we're still riding that high, but
I know, but here's the thing, right? Like again, it's like this, it's Quinn's new toy. Like he's a guy, and all he is a guy. But like, so guy comes into the lineup, and I think he's been fine, right? Like I think he might have been one of the few Sharks that showed up and tried to give a shit this game. Mm-hmm. But like again, like you start Kevin Labanc on your third line, you bench him the other game, like. Kevin Labanc's been pretty damn good this year.
Yeah.
And even if he's not in your long-term solutions, like I still think his contract's a little rich for my blood, but I still think like if you want to move a guy out, like he's a guy that might gain interest. Now I that contract's a little rich for my blood and probably rich for the blood of a lot of teams who are all capped out into oblivion. But like what are we doing?
Yeah, we got a question from Denver. Is management asking 3 firsts for EK65 realistic? What would you ask for and trade? Well, we did get a little bit of Greer soundbite in that second period. Basically, had been fielding calls. Didn't really say much more than that. I think there was a little article. I don't know if it was Shang who floated it up or if it was on CSN Bay Area, but we got a little bit of more information saying Mike Greer. They had specifically asked about 3 first-rounders, and he said that was inaccurate. So, I think at this point for me is very little salary retention, if at all. And, I'd be happy with a first and a blue chipper, to be quite honest. If there was, maybe $1.5 million retained or something below $2 million, I think I could stomach that. But
so sure, and that's fine. But again, like I just mentioned, here's the thing about like this. I think this trade deadline is going to suck. I think it's going to be boring as fuck. I think a lot of networks are scrambling because they have these elaborate, like they always do, these elaborate trade deadline shows planned, and everyone's capped out. Like again, what are you taking back? Like you can't just send Erik Karlsson to a team. Even if you retain 50% of his salary, you can't just send him to a team. What are you taking back? Yep. What's coming back this way that's making money?
I mean, you'd have to trade it'd be one of those derelict cast-offs for him, right? I mean, that's you'd have
to take on an awful fucking contract.
Yeah. Yeah, and all of the teams that are super competitive right now, like you had said, have painted themselves into cap hell. I mean, Carolina's got 0 cap space. St. Louis got 0 cap space. Flyers have 0 cap space. Somehow Vancouver has 0 cap space.
Right, and those Florida aren't even. But again, like if you're trading for Erik Karlsson, are you trading for Erik Karlsson if you're a team that's in the lottery?
Right. I mean, New York has got $1,200,000 at projected cap space, and
right.
So like really the math is just not there.
Right. Like I don't like so the asking, like obviously like the initial rumor of the asking point of like 3 firsts for 18%. 18%? You want 3 firsts to hold 18% of Erik Karlsson's salary? Again, we'll answer the question because it was politely asked in the chat, but like this is the biggest. I think this Erik Karlsson getting traded thing is the biggest non-story in hockey, and it's because there's just no fucking way to make it work. And again, like I say this as a guy who generally pretty positive on Erik Karlsson on this show. Noted Erik Karlsson guy Ian. I'm gonna say this, like GMs don't have like. They have memories. They know how the first 3 seasons of this contract have gone. Mm-hmm. If you're a contending team, like, do you risk it? And I think and again, I like Erik Karlsson, but knowing the history, like if you can get this Erik Karlsson and you can get this Erik Karlsson for the next 4 years, well, fuck, the Sharks would lose that trade twice. But
yeah, law of averages say he's going to get injured again.
And I don't want to like. I wouldn't want that to happen, but if I'm a GM, like I have to at least consider the possibility that is this going to last? It's a lot of fucking money.
Yep. I mean, I think you'd be pretty crazy to take on that whole contract, and I wouldn't want to even touch it unless I was getting, let's say, $3.5 million off that contract. I think you could probably stomach him for 8, but then again, why would the Sharks
have him for another 4 years? Like you have to think long term with these things. Yes, the cap eventually is going to go up, but I feel like we've been hearing that for the past 2 years. Oh, the cap's going to go up big this year. Oh no, it's only $1 million.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be, nope, might be $1 million again. Like, so until we start seeing the cap actually increase, like I don't know. And again, like I think if somebody did trade for Erik Karlsson, especially the way he's playing this year, they would get a hell of a player. They would get the player that San Jose thought they were getting and has turned into this season. But this season isn't the whole picture, right?
Yep.
And
And
I say this as a guy who fucking loves Erik Karlsson. I think Erik Karlsson is an absolute elite offensive defenseman. Yes, his defensive game sucks, but you don't fucking sign Erik Karlsson to play defense. You don't sign him to shut guys down. Like, whatever.
And I think the other point is, how much money are the Sharks going to be paying players to not play on their team?
For the Sharks? Yeah, that's the other problem, right? You're already paying because you're just, I think they're finally almost done Martin Jones's buyout. Let's go.
No, Martin Jones.
No, they're not. No,
till 2026.
2026. You're paying, okay, Rudolph Walters is nothing. Brent Burns, you're still paying almost $3 million to not play for the next 3 years, for this year plus 2 more.
Do you think Hasso would want to pay an additional $3 million to an Erik Karlsson not playing for the team? I mean, you also got to look at it that way.
Yeah,
that's
a check he's
almost $7 million worth of money to players not playing on his team.
Yeah, it's interesting because obviously, like, I think, again, like, if Doug Wilson was still here, like, then that wouldn't even be on the table, I don't think, because it's like, can you just fire me now? But I mean, now that it's Mike Grier taking over, maybe if Mike Grier can pitch in and say this is what we're doing, then maybe Hasso might be receptive to that. But I don't know. Like, Hasso, the one thing about Hasso Plattner is he's always signed the checks. Like, say what you want about Hasso Plattner, about how active or inactive he is in the management, but he's always signed the checks. And for that, I've always been grateful, because I think, that's the one thing I like, the owner that doesn't get overly involved and lets the hockey people do the hockey things. Maybe should get better hockey people to do hockey things, but be it as it is, like, I would still rather that type of ownership rather than some of the more meddling owners that we've seen in other teams that have really fucked things up.
Oh, true. And he's been pretty much hands off. I think we've even said maybe guilty of being an absentee owner. But again, I this is a guy that runs a tech company, right? And most tech company CEOs are pretty good at making money and pretty good at understanding what are good return on investments. And I don't think $7 million in players not playing for your team is a really good return on investment.
No, but I think if you pitched him, I think if someone pitched it to him the right way, he would sign the check, because he always has.
Yeah. And maybe that you could stroke that check if you're getting more picks into the war chest,
sure,
and able to build a package around Karlsson to net you something. But like you said, I mean, one, capped out. Two, I mean, it takes a long time to put together a deal of that magnitude, so it would be more of an off-season move anyways. And then third, Erik Karlsson holds all of the chips here. I mean, he can veto anywhere.
Yeah, so, again, like, I just think it's like, I feel like we've already, like, and again, like, I'm happy to answer chat questions, because you guys are the reason we do this, but I just feel like, man, there's been so much written about this and talked about this, and it's a non-fucking story. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Show me the team that's going to be able to take that cap hit, regardless of if you're retaining cap or not retaining cap or whatever. Like, just show me the team that's, that he's going to want to go to, because again, you're right. Like, he's not just going to go anywhere. He's probably going to want to go to a team that has a chance to win.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he goes back to Ottawa. Maybe. But then, again, do the Sharks want to lose that trade twice? That would be a feat.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's such a non-story, and I think, unfortunately, people are going to write about it because it's going to get clicks.
Yeah.
But it's not going to fucking, I will, if look at, man, if Erik Karlsson gets traded before the trade deadline, I will be the first to come on here and tell you how stupid I fucking am. And I've said some really stupid things on this channel. There's like 17 years, not 17, but there's enough years of history on it. You can go back and pick a video with me on it. You can probably find something dumb that I've said. You might find something dumb I've said on this episode, but I think I'm glad that we've been able to fill time with this. I just think it's a stupid thing because I think it's if and buts were candy and nuts, like it's just not happening, man.
Puck guy saying, when is Gregor the next guy to demand a trade? But I mean, would Gregor play? Would he even be able to play on any other NHL roster? I mean, if you can't crack the lineup,
find him.
If you can't crack the lineup here, though, with how ineffective some of these forward lines have been, that goes to tell you something too.
I don't know. Look, it's different. Like obviously, different coaches are going to have different guys. So, I think that there's a coach that would give Noah Gregor some rope to hang himself with. Yeah, probably. I don't think Noah Gregor kind of took like a bet on himself deal, and it just hasn't worked out. Like he could ask for a trade, but again, like big deal. Noah Gregor wants out. Oh, breaking news, TSN stop everything. Noah Gregor of the San Jose Sharks wants out. 31 other teams. Who?
Yeah, right.
But I think there's somebody that like Mike. I don't dislike Noah Gregor. Oh no, Noah Gregor wants out. Okay.
Right. Well, I mean, I think we've talked about Timo Meier a little bit before, but I guess we could cover that one too. Do you think I'll put it to you this way. What has more of a chance of happening? An Erik Karlsson trade pre-deadline or a Timo Meier trade pre-deadline?
Timo Meier, because Erik Karlsson's not going anywhere. Like again, Erik Karlsson's it's such a non-fucking story, I think. Just because of the situation the way it is. It's a non-story. Like Timo Meier is a guy who is Timo Meier is a guy that you have options for, right? You can get him as, I mean, not a rental because you still have to give him a QO or whatever next year. He has one more year of restricted free agency, but Timo Meier is a guy that I don't know. I think you can fudge the numbers and make that work and then deal with the fallout in the summer because you just have to pay him whatever his remaining salary is, like whatever his prorated salary is at the trade deadline, right?
Right.
So like that's a much easier deal to make, and then you deal with the qualifying offer this summer, and then whether you sign him for long term or whatever. Like I think that Timo Meier trade is a far easier nut to crack if that's what the Sharks want to do.
Burge coming up with we should extend Matt Benning at the earliest opportunity.
I mean, 3 more years, we can start talking about the Matt Benning extension. Jesus Christ.
Oh my goodness.
8x8, yep. Yeah. 8x8 Matt. I mean, like, who signs Matt Benning for 4 years? Mike Greer, apparently.
Hashtag grit. I mean, I don't know.
I don't understand. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why they would look at a guy like Matt Benning and be like, yeah, 4 years. 4 years sounds about right.
Well, it was the same guy that thought, Oscar Lindblom was going to be a second line forward, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I again, just some really strange moves in the off season, giving some really weird signaling on where the team is and where it's going and what the look of it should be. Right now, I think again, Greer is still in analyze and assess mode to see what he's got, but so far short returns on the moves that he did make in the off season. Not looking good at all.
Yeah, no, going in the chat here quick, Seabrook saying like, yo, laugh me when I said contender might want Kane. Again, I think different situation, right? Like Kane, you didn't know what the final thing obviously was going to be with the Sharks and him when that worked out. But like, am I shocked that a contender took him? Not really. But again, like it's not that I don't think a team would want Erik Karlsson. I just don't see the math that makes it work.
Yeah,
like a realistic trade that makes it work, where you don't take Erik Karlsson and liquefy your depth to do it.
Right.
Because you have to like money in, money out. Again, if you're a capped out team, like $11.5 million, and you're on the hook for that, or whatever the Sharks, you can get the Sharks to retain. But like, the Sharks aren't taking 50% of that salary unless you're going to pay through the nose. Like, the rumor was 3 firsts for 18%. Now, I don't think that, like, again, is that the real ask? I doubt it. But if you use that as an example, like, what are
what's 50%? What's 50%? If 18%'s 3 firsts.
Yeah, like, I mean, and again, like, I think you'd have to, I'm sure people can go on Cap Friendly and make some cool trade trees and stuff and make the numbers work. But are they realistic? And I would say probably not, because again, if you're a contender, you don't want to subtract too much to add Erik Karlsson. And then you have to pay him for 4 more years. And that is the big hang up for me. Like, without knowing, like, again, the cap is going up soon. How soon is soon? We don't know.
Yeah. Iman, good question. What team will win the Patrick Kane sweepstakes at the deadline? Maybe New Jersey. I mean, it's close to.
Yeah, and again, those trades are easier to do because those guys are on expiring contracts. Yeah, I think the Rangers would make a ton of sense.
Yeah, if I'm just looking here, over in the East, I'd say the Rangers. I'd say New Jersey. Possibly Pittsburgh. I mean, who knows? They might try something crazy.
I mean, if you're Pittsburgh, I think if you're Pittsburgh, like, Pittsburgh should just unload, like, there's going to be pain eventually for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but until, like, I think as long as Crosby's there, you should be doing everything you possibly can. Yep. To win another Stanley Cup. So I think Pittsburgh, I'd have to look deeper at their cap situation. But again, I think that's a good shout. I think that would make a lot of sense. Again, I think if you're Pittsburgh, you should be all in until Crosby can't skate anymore and Malkin dies. And then you deal with pain.
Yeah. No, I agree. Well, I think that pretty much, taps me out on stuff that I want to talk about. Ian, if there's anything you want to talk about, or I think we're back. Ian, are you still with me?
I'm still here. The YouTube snipers fail again.
Right? They try, but we're back. I guess, that was kind of our cue for us to start to get out of here.
Oh my God, this is such a close-up of my eyes.
I'm ready for my close-up.
You can see how fucked my glasses are. I can't wait to get new glasses. These ones are so broken. We're back.
Send us a Venmo so Ian can get new glasses.
No, they're coming. They're coming, and they're ordered. They're coming. I just have to wait for them to come in. I just had my prescription updated. So, somehow this is still Puck Guy's fault. I just want to point that out.
Right? Oh, Puck Guy, we love you. Well, I think, like I was saying before, I mean,
Can we blame Doug Wilson? We can absolutely blame Doug Wilson. I do. I mean, again, right? Like for again, for all the good Doug Wilson did, like this mess was his creation.
oh yeah, oh yeah, and I think you could even make the argument that Greer made the mess a little bit more
but like because
with
of the situation they were in, though, like again, like I'm it's really early. Like I don't like a lot of Mike Greer's early moves, but I'm letting it play out, and he had, in fairness, he had quite the shit show to try and sort through. And I think to expect Mike Greer to come in and fix this in one season was unrealistic, and none of us expected that.
True that. But I also didn't think his moves were going to be this ineffective. I think we all had more expectation for an Oscar Lindblom and
yeah,
Stephen
I mean, look,
Lawrence
sometimes you roll the dice and you lose, though. Like at least you rolled the dice. Doug Wilson fucking stood pat for 3 years.
Yeah. No, he did. He really did. Well, Ian, what are your final thoughts and where the people can find you?
Gosh, my final thoughts. It certainly isn't when the Sharks do good, it's good, because this was not good. Again, I you know what, this show, I didn't know what we were going to talk when we came on here, because again, like for a 7-1 game, like you would think there'd be more to talk about. There really wasn't, because this was a really shit show, and it was saved by, once again, you lovely folks in the chat who managed to make our shows long, even when we could do it in 10 minutes and then go home and cry into our San Jose Sharks pajamas. You guys make this you guys always make this better than it is. Even like as the season's gone on, like, and
they're literally the only reasons why we keep going.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I do like the sound of my own voice, and I feel like maybe I would just do this and just stare at my blank monitor and set up my webcam and like not actually have it on and talk to it. But I do like the sound of my own voice. I'm not gonna lie, but you guys are definitely a close second.
Well, you know what? I mean, I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't have these, the comment stream coming in and giving us some feedback on this silly show that we do.
Yeah.
Well, where can the people find you, Ian?
If you want to find me after all this, and if you do, God bless you. I am on @IanBlogsHockey on the Twitter machine. I don't tweet as much as I used to. But if you do, when Barracuda are playing and I am not sleeping, these are two things that have to happen at the same. Even when I am sleeping, Puck Guy does it. So if you're looking for like some Barracuda coverage, if you follow us at our main account, the @Teal Town USA account, during Barracuda games, I'm generally pretty chatty on there when the Barracuda are playing, and I'll grab some clips of video from the game, usually goals, or if depending on what the hell's going on. If I'm trying to watch two games, it gets a little less chatty and less video-y. But yeah, if you want to hang out with me this weekend, the Barracuda are playing. And actually, speaking of the Barracuda, they play the Abbotsford Canucks tomorrow. That's going to be a rough game for them, but it is free on AHL TV. So I think you have to like give them your email or whatever. But if that is not an affront to you or whatever, check it out. AHL TV tomorrow. I can't remember when the game starts, but it is free on AHL TV. So check out if you do, or if you are curious about the Barracuda, want to watch them. It is free tomorrow. So hang out with me.
Awesome. My final thoughts are, look, you just have to continue to move forward. You have to put together, a game plan that's simple, that, you can have everybody pulling in the same direction. And
pucks in deep.
110%
effort.
Grind on the boards.
Yeah.
What other cliches? But no, I mean, honestly,
180-foot game.
Yeah. You gotta have the meat and potatoes hockey in order. You gotta crawl before you can walk, ladies and gentlemen. So,
or if the Sharks, you just have to like roll over
flounder
to your belly so you can get up to a crawl.
I'll check it out. Everybody check out Pucknologist, 7 p.m. on Sunday night. They're going to be breaking down the week that was in San Jose Sharks. Finally getting a break from all of those after dark takeovers. We'll be back at you after the Monday game, the Monday matinee against the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah. If you are looking for a steady diet of Ian, I think you're going to get it over this next stretch. Yeah. It'll be me. It'll be me on Monday, and then it'll be me on Wednesday. So if you want your fill of me, just trying not to swear and get us demonetized, I will be here.
And in case you missed it, or you want to check us out, you want to check us out, check us out on the YouTube Rewind, or of course on your podcatcher of choice. We're on Apple Podcasts, the Google Podcast Store. Excuse me. Why did I say Google Podcast?
I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
We're on all the places. Also, if you are to happen to watch this late and on video, and you have a comment, leave it down below.
That too.
I usually respond to any comments that are left on our videos, whether I'm on the show or not. So if you want to leave me a comment, tell me I'm an asshole. It's fine. I'll even comment to that. It'll be cool.
And of course, check us out at tealtownusa.com for all of our shows, our ramblings on the Sharks, and news, editorials. Check it out. For me and for all the rest of the crew, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you after the game on Monday.